Jy kan ook vir ons WhatsApp op 0817291657 en ja, die man is in die plek. Hy het geland. Ek het nie te lank terug het ek gehoor hy is so pas uit Johannesburg uit en hy is nou in die Kaap. Ek gaan vir hom laat groet hierso vanoggend. Geronimo, very welcome to you. Goeiemôre, welkom.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners as well. I feel so honored to be here today. So thank you so much.
Yes. So you've been doing amazing work. I mean, it's not the first radio station you've been talking to. You've been talking to a few newspapers, media teams as well, and I'm thinking when I think of what you do and the amazing work that people talk about that's happening in the area of Elsies River. I mean, it's phenomenal what's needed there. En soos julle weet, luisteraars, daar is so baie wat gebeur op die Kaapse vlakte en so baie jong mense word ingetrek in die hou vas van die duiwel en daar sit so baie dwelms en daar sit so baie gangsterisme wat aan die gang is en hier is iemand wat besluit dat hy gaan totaal en al iets anders doen. En Geronimo het groot geraak in Elsies, 'n rivier, en hy woon en werk steeds in die gemeenskap en hy sê die werk moet net aangaan. Hy is die stigter van die organisasie Feed the Future for Life NPO en hy glo dat daar altyd veranderinge in die jeug kan plaasvind en in die gemeenskap en daarom spits hy hom toe om met die NGPO of die NGO, die nie winsgewende organisasie, 'n lekker tangtwister daarso, nie winsgewende organisasie te fokus op 'n hoofsaaklik jeug en gemeenskappe. Geronimo, vertel me ons 'n bietjie van jou hoe dit begin en waar dit ek het nog al gesê jy het opgegroei in Elsies, né?
Baie dankie vir daai vraag. I think that is such a good question, and always when people ask me like when did it start, I'm always happy to answer that. So firstly, I would say that what God implemented in me, that is where it started, and I can firmly state that without Jesus Christ, you're absolutely nothing. And it started all in Elsies River back in 2022. So I had this vision of starting a non-profit organization, but not only starting a non-profit organization, so also we looked at how do we start and where do we start and why do we want to start, and it's so important to know why do we want to start, and that is why we named ourselves Feed the Future, not only because we want to feed the community, want to feed the youth and community, but at the same time we want also to feed them with a valuable education around food security. We want to feed them with education when it comes to whatever information they need. That is why we named ourselves Feed the Future. So we're not only looking at food security programs, environmental programs, but also to be one of the pillars in the community to make sure whatever the community is in need of, whatever information we have, education we have, and whatever we have to offer for the community. And on top of that, it's a youth-led organization, and that's something that's so powerful because wherever I go, I always say that changes should come from the youth and communities, and that is only in the youth and communities. And I was saying the other day that in the midst of all these chaos around us, there is opportunity for changes. And that changes can happen, but definitely I can state with God on my side, that is where we are at this moment, and it's only because of God, it's only through God. And with that, I could proudly say that our youth-led organization is one of the things that I really dreamed of a time ago, and I'm very, very happy that God implemented it in me, and that I can say now that I am the founder of an amazing organization called Feed the Future for Life NPO.
Feed the Future NPO. Wow, Feed the Future for Life, NPO.
Future for Life.
Feed the Future for Life. Is nie net vir nou nie, it's for life.
For life, yes.
I love that. So as jy sopas ingeskakel het, jy is ingeskakel by 729 Kaapse Kansel en ek gesels met Geronimo De Klerk en hy is die stigter van Feed the Future for Life NPO en wat 'n amazing getuienis het hy vanoggend en hy ek kan vir my imagine. Want vandag as ek dink aan die jong mense, baie jong mense sit en hulle dink aan hulle next 5-year goals en hulle dink aan PlayStations en hulle dink aan die volgende kar wat hulle vir hulle gaan koop. Hier sit 'n ou op 'n dag en hy besluit die omstandighede en die omgewing hier rondom my, dit kan nie so bly nie. Ek gaan 'n verskil maak. Dit begin met my en nou doen hy amazing werk met 'n span, 'n jeuggeleide organisasie en hulle doen alles, ek wil amper sê alles wat mal is in die gemeenskap, net om sodat ons nie meer, ons het nie vandag meer verskoning nie, man. Ons het nie vandag meer 'n verskoning om te sê ek kan niks doen nie. Hierso sit Geronimo, hy het amazing. Ek doen natuurlik al 'n hele paar jaar, nê, wat julle dit doen. En en is nie net kos of groentetuine nie, maar daar's 'n hele paar goedjies wat hulle ook doen. Wil jy so 'n bietjie uitbrei rondom daai?
Yeah, I'll be happy to do so.
Yes.
When it comes to our organization, like I mentioned, we want to touch based on anything that we can do or that the community wants us to do, because you were mentioning something earlier on, which is so significant, is like people always will think of excuses and so forth, and there's youth out there that's basically still on the edges of doing drugs and doing violence and so forth. But when there's a time for changes, or when there's opportunity for changes, why not create that changes? So that is why I can say that our organization, even though our constitution state that we should only do this and this and that, but also other than that is also to empower the community, you know. And it's a powerful thing to empower your community, because then you can speak of changes, because then you can speak of people with testimonies and so forth. Because I think it's important that your testimony, like they always say, testimony save lives. And I mean, my testimony and where I come from, it's quite a thing. And where I am today, I can proudly say that not only myself, but most of the other youth members is also part of it now.
Wow.
Where 2 years ago, when the Western Cape, Dr. Ivan Meyer, the Minister of Agriculture, visited us, and we shared with him this story. We not only basically got youth from the corners, but we also got ex-gangsters that we basically made sure that they could rehab themselves in the gardens or in the spaces that we make available. So I think it's not only the idea of food and food security. That is why our name is stating that Feed the Future for Life. We want to make sure that whatever we are doing and whatever we're implementing in someone's life, we want it to be a change. I mean, like, someone can hear now the interview, and there will always be that one person that will be encouraged by this interview. So I would always say that doesn't matter what you are facing, try to make changes, and try to make changes on a daily basis. And I think that is what we are pushing for in our communities, in the communities that we are working in. I mean, we are branched out now. We started in Elsies River, but we in Kayalitsa, we in Nyanga, we in Makaza, and last time they basically, I got this position at the Western Cape Climate Justice Charter movement, and I'm the convener of it. On top of all of this, I've been working with the climate justice movement so long, and to be the convener of the Western Cape, representing the Western Cape, I mean, it's a lot. It's really a lot, and it's an opportunity that I haven't thought I would get so fast. I mean, it's only a few years that I've been working in environmental aspects, community development, and so forth. But look where I am now. So I could say that just plant your own seed. Someone was telling me in the week that it doesn't matter if it's dirty water, but it won't let that seed stop growing. And therefore, it doesn't matter what you are facing, it won't stop you growing. It definitely won't stop you growing if you implement it by yourself. Plant the seed by yourself, water it with your water. Doesn't matter which water you're watering from. So that is what I can say.
That's amazing, Geronimo. Ek moet vir jou sê, hierso Tinka sê vir ons hierso op Facebook, julle is besig in die koninkryk en besig om vir mense te wys hoe werk dit waar die Here werk, né? Awesome. Dankie Tinka. Sy sê hello Geronimo, such an inspiring, powerful message of hope. En wow, dis waaroor dit gaan, hè, is om hoop te gee aan mense. En ek kan hoor terwyl jy praat, die passie wat jy het vir die gemeenskap en vir wat jy doen, en dis amazing dat jy nou al uitgebranch het na ander takke toe en alle areas toe. Maar daar was ook uitdagings, daar was ook lows gewees. Wil jy 'n bietjie deel saam met ons daaroor?
Yeah, I mean, any NPO or NGO, when someone is always on an interview or speaking about the organization, this is always what they mention. They'll be like, to get funding for an NPO, to get funding for an NGO is difficult. And I think that is the thing that we've been sitting now for a time. We are not funded from any institution or any governmental organization. But then we have partners, of course. We have organizational partners that make sure that we can practice our projects out there and we can be in operation. So the challenges that we faced was like, if we implement a project or a program, it's always resources that comes to short. Like the other day we had to renew our water pumps boreholes, irrigation system. We needed to renew it because load shedding, it was an automatic pump, so it automatic controls itself. So load shedding made a huge difference to that. So it broke down, and we needed to replace that. And on top of that, we are not funded, so we had to speak to our partners to make sure that happened. But I mean, the challenges that we were facing, it's a lot more than just resources and funding. The challenges is also we want to go work in the community, but we can't because of resources. That is one of the things that is a biggest challenge that we ever experience. So, for example, we want to go into Cape Town, but we can't go there because of the resources. I mean, we have a number of messages coming on our Facebook page, Feed the Future page, on our emails. People are contacting us on a daily basis, asking for assistance, asking for us to come out there and branch out there. But, in terms of resources, always a problem. But not only that, I think also the challenges that we also face once we with some youth members or some communities and we implement something and it doesn't grow because of the lack of knowledge that's maybe there or the lack of education they have. Sometimes we implement the project and then 2 or 3 days after that we come found like the resources get stolen in the new communities that we are working in, and we're not blaming the communities for that. Of course, stuff like that would happen because
yes.
the hunger is out there,
Unemployment rate.
yeah,
Yes.
it's quite a thing. So I think those are the challenges, but we are working around the clock, to make sure that we can see to those challenges. That is why we have environmental partners like the Climate Justice Charter Movement, African Climate Alliance, RLabs, LATO, these kind of organizations that's our partners, that's basically assisting us to make a success with whatever we're starting. So the resources part shouldn't be a problem, but the implementation part also shouldn't be a problem. But
Yes.
we like challenges and we like obstacles because we
Wow.
started with the amount of resources that we had, and we started basically with nothing. It only started in the community by
Wow.
myself, by my brother, and all other youth out there, with no resources, no nothing. So that is why we like challenges, and to see, because if you have challenges, you will definitely have a
Yes.
huge testimony out there to say this is where we're coming from, this is where we came from, so that people can be inspired and not say,
Yes.
listen, I do not have resources to do this, to be self-sustainable, or to do that, and it start with what you have, and that is what keeps us going on a daily basis. The
sure.
challenges, you should have challenges
Sure.
and you should overcome it. Like I mentioned to you, is with
Yes.
God on our side, we can.
We can overcome anything,
anything.
and an obstacle is like
Anything.
nothing to him, because we
Exactly.
trust in him. That's so amazing. Ek sien so uit. Ek dink ons moet eendag daai hele span van jou moet ons
Yes, you can
in studio
invite
kry.
them.
Ja, en dit hoor, want ek dink dis besonderse jong mense wat 'n mens hoor nie baie jong mense praat soos dit nie, en ek moet sê ek dink jou ouers moet dan baie trots wees op jou.
Definitely.
Want ek,
Definitely.
wow, because I mean, to create such a big change, I mean, ja, en dis hoekom wil ek kom by die vraag, en jy kan nie glo ons se tyd is nou alweer amper om nie, maar ek wil vir jou vra, wat sal jy vir 'n jong Geronimo sê vir oggend, wat ook in sy gedagte het dit al opgekom, ek kan iets doen, maar dan kyk hy rondom hom en dan wat sal jy vir hom sê? Wat het vir jou daai edge, daai boost gegee, like today I'm doing it?
Well, I think this is the question that I would always like to answer, even though vra hulle my nie die vraag, ek sal altyd but I think it's important that we know, we as youth or however outside there, you were chosen. Remember that you were chosen, and you weren't chosen by people, or you weren't elected by people. You were chosen by God, and that is most important. If you were chosen by God, nothing can stop you from what you are doing. You can do whatever you like if you do it with God, of course. And look at Noah. When Noah was busy building the ark, not many of the people was basically standing with him. Som van hulle het nog gaie gemaak van hom, som van hulle het die gesê, som van hulle het daai gesê, but min wetend dat hy die visie van God gekry het om dit te doen. So whatever visie jy van God het, praat met God, sodat jy en God dit saam kan doen, van as die Here nie huisie bou nie, te vergeefs nie bouer. So I would definitely like to say for a younger Geronimo, whatever you have in mind, start it off with God, and I will always ending off by saying that in the midst of all these chaos around us, there is opportunity. An opportunity for changes, and I say that changes can come from the youth and communities. And I mean, the youth is 70% of the country, or 60%. It's the majority of the country. So if we can implement that changes, I mean, we will definitely make our country proud. And Start with what you have, because at this moment, what we have is God. So start with God, and you will see how far you come. So yeah.
Amazing. Start with what you have. Young person, if you're listening, start with what you have. Miskien nie net 'n jong mensie, miskien 'n groter mense ook. Jy het tog altyd gedink ek wil iets doen, maar ek weet net nie wat nie. Miskien moet jy vir Geronimo jy mis join. Who knows? There is so many networks. Ek dink ons is baie meer magtiger as ons hande vat en saam die ding aanpak. Want dit is nie 'n ligte saakie. Dis eintlik 'n groot saak, maar as ons harte in die ding is en soos Geronimo heeltyd praat van, jy weet, sy vertroue in God. Hy praat van die getuienis en hoe soms gaan dit snaaks lyk, soms gaan dit lyk Jesusie, maar sal jy dit kan maak? Maar weet jy wat, as God daai saadjie in jou hart geplaas het, Geronimo doen dit nie uit homself, die Here het daai saad in hom geplant om 'n verskil te maak. Gaan ons hom join, kan ons ook iets doen daar waar ons is. Miskien is jy 'n bietjie ver, jy is miskien al in Noordkap en voel, Jesusie, maar of daar langs die Weskus ergens 'n bietjie wyd en jy voel, maar ek wil ook iets doen, maar as net Jesusie, ek is nog ander, julle praat ons so lekker en ek sal ook wil, maar ek is so ver. Begin daar waar jy is vandag en skep moed in die Here. Wow, wat 'n voorreg om. Dankie Geronimo, dankie vir jou tyd. Dankie dat jy saam met ons ingeskakel het en saam met ons gekom kuier het vanoggend en ons maak weer so en alles wat mooi is vir alles wat jy nog gaan inpak. Ek weet jy het 'n hele lys goed wat jy nog wil doen en omdat jy God in die eerste stel en saam met jou het, sal jy dit bereik, meneer.
Definitely. Baie dankie Andre, baie dankie vir die geleentheid en ook baie dankie vir jou luisteraars wat ingetune het. Ek waardeer baie hierdie opportunity. Ek dink is definitely 'n bemoediging vir anders daar buite. So baie dankie aan jou ook. Ek hoop dat radio Pulpit sal verdere hoogtes bereik. So baie dankie aan jou.
Fantasties.